All right, guys, welcome to Flavo Rihanna's MMA show. I'm your host, Flavo Rihanna, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. All right, guys, so UFC 280 is officially in the books. We're going to be going on to UFC 281. Now, that's the card that's always featured Madison Square Garden. This year, we're going to have Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira for the middleweight title. Co-main event, we're going to have for the strawweight title, it'll be champion Carla Esparza versus Weili. Feature prelim. This is the fight that I'm actually more glued in about. Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler, and then second fight to start off the main card will be Frankie Edgar versus Chris Gutierrez, and to open it up will be Claudio Puelles versus Dan Hooker. Now, guys, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a breakdown right before I try to end this video. But yeah, guys, I'm very excited for the main event. Poirier versus Chandler, that's the fight that I'm more glued in on. But the main event, Adesanya versus Pereira. Both these guys have a history against one another. Both these guys wanted to have fought each other. And Pereira has gotten the better of Adesanya in both times, all right? You can say that Adesanya should have won the first fight. It was more leaning on his side. But the second fight, no matter if Adesanya was winning the fight or not, Pereira did shut out Adesanya and was able to knock him out cold, and he was on the canvas sleeping. All right. Now this is now fast forward. This is gonna be in MMA. They had fought in kickboxing. Kickboxing, they fight with what, 10-ounce, 12-ounce gloves. Now if you put those together, it's off their padding. It's off their padding. But the UFC, they fight with 4-ounce gloves, which means that the punches are gonna be harder. You're gonna feel more of the action. And if Pereira has power like we think he does, why isn't that we're thinking that Pereira might not? Why isn't that we're not thinking that Pereira isn't gonna knock out Adesanya? I think Adesanya has the skills, the defense, the ability, the data that he needs to avoid being knocked out, because he should know how Alex Pereira is, right? He's been in the ring with him a couple of times. He went to full distance with him the first time, got knocked out the second time. But I just think that maybe when you might see a different outcome, I think if because of the fact that we have seen Alex Pereira struggle against having a ground game, right? Him being taken down in that Bruno Silva fight. Will Israel Adesanya try to impose some type of a ground game or a threat of a ground game, right? Mind you, this is MMA. You could take somebody down, you could submit somebody, you can knock somebody out, all right? Will Israel try to level change with him? Will he try to show him different looks that he hasn't seen before, all right? Or will Israel Adesanya just try to pick him off on the outside, leg kick him, try to stop his stationary movement. I'm sorry, his movement from left and right, making him a stationary target, and Adesanya will just be able to pick him apart from that. My problem with that is that I don't think that's the type of work. I think that's what allowed Adesanya to get knocked out in that second fight in kickboxing. I think Alex Pereira is going to have to get taken down, all right, to have some type of a different look. Alex Pereira, I believe, shockingly, he is the underdog in this thing, but I think that he is a strong chance that he can, replicate the same things that he's done in kickboxing to MMA, all right? I really do believe this might be a stand-up war. All right, and the reason why I think that is just because Adesanya has never showed any type of an attempt to try to take somebody down. He's talked about his jiu-jitsu, all right? He's never imposed anything of a ground game, all right? The only times that we've seen him on the ground was when he fought Jan Blachowicz, and Jan Blachowicz just pretty much sat on him and just ground and pounded him, all right? Adesanya was just trying to weasel his way out of him being on the bottom, but, the fact that he weighed in way too light for that light heavyweight fight, and Blachowicz was easily, when he was rehydrated, an extra 30 pounds heavier than Adesanya. There was no way. Now we did see that Pereira has been putting on a lot of muscle. I think he took a picture with Dominic Reyes, and Pereira was 245, mind you. Dominic Reyes looks small, right? And Dominic Reyes fights at a weight class above. Now Pereira is going to be fighting at 185. I'm very interested to see how these two are able to cut that weight because, well, not Reyes, but Adesanya and Pereira. Reason being is because Adesanya, he also has been putting on some type of a weight too. I think he's weighing in like at 230 in this fight camp. For him to now try to bump down to 185, I'm interested to see if putting on that extra weight, right? I understand he's doing that to take the punches and take the punishment from Pereira, but I just want to see if, you know, him putting all that weight and then cutting it, will that impact his speed? I know that's not going to impact his power and stuff like that, but would that impact his speed and his timing? All right, let's see what happens with that. I'm going to be leaning towards Alex Pereira, but I won't be surprised if Israel wins. I'm actually going to be putting in a hedge of a pick. I'm actually going to pick Israel in a different bet to win by decision. I don't think he's going to knock out Pereira, but if he does, I'll be very, very surprised. Just because we've been seeing that he hasn't knocked anybody out since the Paulo Costa fight. Yeah, guys, I mean, it's been a while. It's been a minute. Second fight, Zhang Weili versus Carla Esparza. I actually have Zhang Weili winning this thing. I think keys to winning it is Carla's gonna have to use her wrestling, take her down. Carla's gonna have to take down Zhang Weili and just ground and pound her, and make sure that the referee doesn't stand her up. For Zhang Weili, I know she's training with Henry Cejudo. I know she's training with Captain Eric. I know she has a great, karate pedigree. Her striking is impeccable and stuff like that. I think that she should follow the way that follow Jessica Andrade's approach when she ended up fighting. I'm sorry, not Jessica Andrade. She should fight Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Just blitz Carla, put her in a situation that she doesn't want to be in, and what's it called? I think Zhang will get the victory. And then lastly, Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler, because I'm not going to get to Claudio Puelles versus Daniel Hooker. I think Claudio Puelles is going to win. I think Chris Gutierrez is going to knock out Frankie Edgar in his retirement fight. But what I will say against Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier, I don't know who I'm going to be leaning towards, but what I will say is that in Chandler's fight against Charles Oliveira, we did see his wrestling was anti-jiu-jitsu. If Chandler does use his wrestling, and I know Poirier does have a jiu-jitsu background, how that impose? We saw Oliveira's jiu-jitsu was pretty much neutralized against Michael Chandler. Okay, and Charles Oliveira has possibly one of the best jiu-jitsu backgrounds in the world. But I don't see a world where Michael Chandler goes for a takedown or anything like that. If he does, I'll be very, very surprised. But Michael Chandler is falling in love with his striking and being a fan favorite. All right, and I think that might lead him to possibly losing this matchup against Dustin Poirier, because Dustin Poirier will box him, will outstrike him, right? But I think if Chandler wants to win, I think he's gonna have to level change and use his wrestling. And I do believe that Chandler is gonna fall in love with being being like a fan fighter, trying to outstrike Dustin Poirier, and I think Dustin Poirier might be able to knock out Michael Chandler. All right, but yeah, guys, that's all. UFC 281, I believe, is November 12th, if I'm not mistaken. Can't wait for the card. I got Pereira winning, I got Zhang Weili winning, and I got Dustin Poirier winning. Also, like I said, Chris Gutierrez and Claudio Puelles. I think Claudio Puelles is going to win by submission. But yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in to Flavo Rihanna's MMA show. Please subscribe and like the videos, and I'll see you guys in the next time. Peace, guys. Have a good one. See you.